greatest racist on the internet, Pete Art.
What's up?
Howdy do, buckaroos. I'm back with a video to talk about one of the internet's biggest lolcows with the least amount of weight. Our old friend Idubbz.
I'm gay. Say no.
I like hentai. I'm Jewish.
Half white and half black. For all I knew, you could have been Puerto Rican. I just made the joke because your name is Caffeine, so I thought, oh, caffeine, decaffeinated, it's perfect, decaffeinated African. I thought it was a hilarious joke at the time, but now you're providing context to my joke, and you're making it a better joke, because not only is it funny, but it's funny because it's true.
Your eyes are open. I can see the world now. I can see the... I'm a reverse Asian.
I went over to my friend's house, and he was raping his next door neighbor on the front lawn, and I just sort of shook my head and said, boys will be boys.
Now that was a collection of the edgy, funny jokes that Idubbz used to make. He no longer makes jokes or anything humorful. He tries to be a serious, smug, well, boring person, to be honest. And we're going to break down this little video because he has to make an apology about these edgy, funny jokes. And I'm going to show you why it is completely insincere. And he's just a pandering, kneeling faggot.
For a while, I felt like if I changed my content over time, that people would see that as a reflection of who I am and what I value.
Now, I didn't edit this down. That's just how he starts the video. No intro, no hello. He doesn't give a fuck about the audience, just right to me. Me. For a while, I thought if I changed my content, not my art, because of course, why would it be art? It's content. If I change my content, that over time, that the audience, like, nobody gives a shit, bro. All right, get to the fucking meats and potatoes and say hello to your fucking audience, you rude prick.
But I'm starting to realize that is a very weak and passive way to, run my channel and live my life.
Yeah, because you look less weak and passive now than you did in the past when you were confident and spoke with your chest. Now you're much more not weak and passive, much more assertive with your laid-back, soft voice and, childlike demeanor. Come on, man. Bro, like, you're speaking one thing and showing something completely else with your body language.
So I think it's, if I'm going to have the balls to go to Tana's fan meetup and say slurs at her and then make a video about how it's okay to say slurs, I think I should have the balls to make an apology video and take accountability for the mistakes I've made.
Now this I actually have no problem with. Manning up and saying you're sorry and apologizing for something you feel you did wrong is a great thing. And if he feels that he wronged Tana Mojo, that's cool. I have no problem with that. The problem with this is that the people that like that content, you shouldn't go out and belittle them and insult them and make them feel smaller. This will be more of an important part coming up once, he brings harassment up.
So that's what this video is. I've realized that I need to be crystal clear about what I believe, so there's no room for ambiguity.
Now, anybody that's been following Idubbz since the Sam Hyde video should find this so fucking hypocritical. There's no room for ambiguity. Although, I was completely ambiguous with Sam Hyde. I was completely, yeah, I'm a great speaker. Completely ambiguous with Froggy Fresh. This guy has been nothing but ambiguous about with where he stands, what his lines are, and everything. And now he wants to be like, I'm gonna be crystal clear here. And to be 100% honest, if you follow this video, it's not crystal clear. He doesn't make a hard line. He doesn't make a real apology. And Idubbz, figure it the fuck out, dude, to quote a great streamer. Figure it out, dude.
I am responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel. And I've also created a culture of apathy and, I don't know, a lot of like cruelty as well. Like, you know, some of the videos I've made have been very, not edgy. I don't think they you know, some of these videos were edgy. I think they were just outright cruel.
Now, again, I could actually agree with Idubbz on this. There were some cruel videos, like especially with the leafy chin thing, you know? But this is the point I think he's forgetting. That the world is fucking cruel, all right? You know how many homeless people just get walked by and spit on and pissed on? Your videos did not create this culture. You're not that fucking important, Ian. The world is incredibly cruel. Now, if you want to make nicer content and be a nicer person, that's great. I'm a racist, but you'll never see me go out and just be rude to people. I treat everyone with respect, regardless of who they fucking are. Now, you are not doing the same thing because you're treating people that are edgelords or basement dwellers with shit respect. So which is it? Are you going to be that nice guy, or are you going to be who you are right now?
So I don't want people to, you know, get it confused about, you know, where I stand. I have made some cruel, hurtful content, and I need to acknowledge that, and I'm really sorry that it's taken me this long to acknowledge it.
So there's our first apology. He's very sorry that it took him this long to acknowledge it. You mean it took you this long to have the social statuses changed to where now if you were to make those jokes and be cruel, that you would be canceled immediately. This is purely monetary. This has nothing to do with you changing as a person. We could just drop that bullshit right now. Because if it were profitable, if being cruel were the end thing, you would absolutely be doing it. And you know this. And that's why you're not somebody's cup of tea.
The content I'm talking about specifically are content cop videos and videos where I was just generally criticizing people for very lackluster reasons, and you know, obviously didn't have any accountability online whatsoever on my end.
Now this is how I know Idubbz has not grown as a person. If you think that criticism is a bad thing, then you are stuck in an infantile brain situation. Criticism constructs you to become a better person. When you're doing something wrong and somebody criticizes that, then you can correct it and become a better person. When he says there was no accountability for it, there were response videos. There was people coming back and criticizing you as well. So this is just a lie, basically.
I was morally grandstanding and acting as if I am any better than any of these people that I was making content cop videos on.
Exactly as you're doing now to the people that used to like those videos.
And I'm not. I'm a human. I'm a real human who makes mistakes. And, you know, I make a different set of mistakes than the people I was making videos on. But it doesn't matter. I don't think anyone deserves that level of cruelty or hate.
Now we're getting into some philosophical stuff. Deserving cruelty and hate. Does anybody deserve cruelty and hate? I'm sure you could think of one person, possibly two, maybe a whole jail cell full of pedophiles. But this is the real thing here. Do you think that your content cop videos were so cruel and so hateful that they ruined these people's lives? Do you think that Keemstar curled up in a ball and just gave up on life because of his content cop? Again, Ian, you're not that fucking important.
It's also indoctrinated a lot of people into thinking that this is an okay way to behave. And it's not. It's super irresponsible and shitty.
Imagine the balls on this guy to think that his content cop videos indoctrinated people to go out there and just be a bully. As if that hasn't been around for as long as human society has existed. This is like beyond like that doctor shit where they think they're God. I forget what it's called. But that's beyond that. This is a guy who thinks that his YouTube content has created a whole community of people that bully people just because of his content cop videos. Ian, you need a fucking reality check, my dude.
I am very insecure about my ability to create interesting content or like entertain. It's gotten better over the years, but it's something that I have struggled with constantly. And it's one of the reasons why I, kept making this hurtful content. I ended up pivoting it into other things because I felt bad about it, like innately.
I'm sure he felt so bad that he reached out to Keemstar and Leafy and all them and said, "I'm very sorry for the videos I did." Oh, wait, he didn't? And in fact, he's still outcasting people like Sam Hyde and Froggy Fresh? Oh, wait a minute. That doesn't... Wait a minute.
But it's still something that I struggle with, and I don't want you to interpret that as an excuse, but I hope that that is relatable to other creators who maybe struggle with the same thing. I'm not confident in my ability to entertain.
Bro, are you really gonna cry that you think you're boring?
And I think if I had to rely on my personality to entertain people, that I wouldn't have any amount of success. And that is really hard to come to terms with.
Yeah, man, it's really hard to come to terms with the fact that you might be boring. Never mind, like, all these people that are on Twitter that get their jobs taken from them and their lives ruined because of people like you that are like, "Ooh, you're racist," and dumb shit like that, No, it's the real issue is, oh my God, I might be uninteresting. Especially during your apology video. Yeah, we should feel bad for you during your apology video.
I was being very bigoted in a lot of my videos, and I justified it because, I didn't think it was too serious. And I thought that people were going to see that I had good intentions, but that's so silly, Casual racism is still racism. Casual bigotry is still bigotry.
And for professional racism, subscribe to the greatest racist online, HJard.
And, I said a lot of things that I look back at and I cringe now, and I'm like, that is an awful thing to say. It doesn't matter what my intentions are. Like, if I'm hurting people, I'm hurting people. And, who the fuck knows what my intentions are? Like, sarcasm and jokiness and jokey tone only goes so far, especially over the internet. Even in real life, that's like an impossible thing to know with 100% certainty.
This is called Joker's remorse, what he's talking about right here. And I've personally never had it because I know that my jokes aren't meant to be 100% serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I make a joke about a woman getting beaten or whatever, I know that in my head that I'm not getting a woman beaten by telling this joke. And to think that is a form of insanity. You have to be insane to think that that joke is going to cause a woman to get beaten. And anybody that tries to say that a joke will get a woman beaten, they are also insane. Jokes are jokes, and they're funny, and that's the point. It's supposed to take you away from that serious subject and lighten it up, to make this cruel, horrible world that we live in not as cruel and horrible. I mean, this is day one stuff. Why am I explaining this to Idubbz? He's supposed to be an adult.
I've just always had this dumb philosophy that I'm not responsible for, my audience and how they behave beyond what content I put out.
You're not. And that's not a ridiculous philosophy. You can't control what other people do. And nobody can. That's stupid. What you're saying now is ridiculous. Your philosophy was not ridiculous.
And that's stupid. And it's led to a lot of hate and a lot of bad outcomes. And I just want to make it clear that I am absolutely responsible for my audience. And, I guess if you want to, look out for people who are red flags, it's definitely people who had my mentality that say, I'm not responsible for what my audience does.
Okay, let's follow up this logic then. So remember that black guy that shot up a bunch of white people because he didn't like white people, he was just a racist black guy? Well, he watched The Young Turks. So does that mean that Chunk Uger got all those people killed? Or how about, that guy that shot up Ohio? He watched CNN. Does that mean that CNN is responsible for all those shootings? Or is it maybe that there's mentally ill people out there that ingest content, and what they do is outside of your control? Idubbz, I'm watching your video right now, and I'm a racist. Does that mean it's your fault that I'm racist? Is that how that works, Idubbz? So you're a racist spreader because I watched your content. Think about what you're saying, and then think about how that applies to the real world.
I know that this apology isn't enough. I've clearly done a lot of damage. These videos have been up for a long time and have accumulated millions of views. I shouldn't be able to just make an apology video and walk away from it. This is something that I should live the rest of my life with.
Bro, you made YouTube videos. You didn't kill a family while drunk driving.
And I expect to. I've profited off of this bigoted content for years, and I've made a successful career out of it. And that's not right. I think that this is only a step in the right direction, and I know that a lot more needs to be done to even approach a life that I would think would be acceptable.
Yeah, making jokes on YouTube is completely unacceptable. Thank God he's found the error of his ways.
I am running ads on this video, and any revenue generated from this video I'm going to match and donate to an organization that would have been particularly affected by the type of rhetoric that I've been spewing on this channel.
I may get the dates wrong here, but I do believe he did Content Cop in 2017, right? Who the fuck has been affected by a YouTube video from 5 years ago, 6 years ago? 6 fucking years ago, somebody was affected by a video on YouTube and he's gonna donate to them? Are you fucking kidding me?
And again, this isn't the end of what I'm doing. This is just the start. I don't feel like a lot of this content represents me as a person, at least not anymore. There was a time where it probably perfectly represented me.
Yeah, before you had a stick up your ass.
Because I was a nasty, apathetic, insecure person. Now that I don't feel like it represents me and I want to distance myself from it and keep it from, indoctrinating more people, I'd like to unlist the videos so that people, can access them still for whatever, purposes they might want to do that for. But it's not being proliferated on the website. I feel like that's the best solution, at least for the time being. And for anyone who liked those videos, I want this video to be an example and a lesson for you. You can like content, but you can also think that it's irresponsible and it's hurting other people.
This really shows how sheltered Idubbz is in his life. If he thinks that these YouTube content is hurting someone, he's never had to see somebody die in front of him, or a girl be victimized, or any horrible tragedy. The worst thing in his life is he said the N-word on YouTube. This is just next level sheltered.
So just tap into that part of your brain that's saying oh, okay, it's probably not that important that this video stays online, because truthfully, I've seen it. I've experienced the content, but it's done a lot of damage. We can just let it go. I'm sorry to everyone that I made content cop videos on. I still don't like the majority of you, and that's fine, but I can recognize that you did not deserve the hate and harassment that I sent your way.
Finally, about 10 minutes into the video, and he finally says sorry. Hey, he still doesn't like you, Mr. Nice Guy. He still thinks you're a piece of shit. But hey, you didn't deserve that.
I particularly want to apologize to Tana. Tana, I'm sorry. I should have never made that video. I harassed Tana in person and then harassed her online. And that's deplorable behavior. It's so stupid.
So bringing up this harassment, are you going to apologize to Froggy Fresh for your wife's mother harassing him unprovoked? Or no? That's right. Because he's somebody you don't like. And you're not actually a nice guy, or hold the values that you're espousing in this video.
I'm also sorry to all the black viewers and minority groups who had to put up with that video and put up with, the phrases. I said either it's all okay or none of it's okay. And that's just so dangerous and stupid.
Hey, black people, I'm so sorry, black people. Here, take your reparations. Minorities, I said a bad word. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let me cry. Oh my God, I said a bad word. Oh, I'm so sorry. Nobody gives a shit. Unlike you, Idubbz, minorities and black people and poor people actually have real problems. We don't have time to kvetch over some dumb shit said on the internet. Are you fucking kidding me?
I have made content that I'm proud of over the years. It hasn't been as consistent as maybe I'd like it to have been.
Like when you brought a huge audience to Airsoft Fatty and it ended up pretty much ruining him. You're probably pretty proud of that one, right?
But, there is a lot of content that I think had a net positive on the world. And, I'm going to strive to continue on that trend. But again, I'm absolutely going to continue to make mistakes, but I want the mistakes to be a lot smaller and a lot less serious.
My advice would be don't focus on your mistakes. Strive for just making the best thing you can make and something to be proud of. If you want to not do any more racist or edgy humor, that's fine. My whole criticism is the way you're going about it and the way you're treating your old audience and this fake pandering. Like, we can all tell it's fake. Being genuine is very easy to see, and we can obviously see you're not being genuine. So be genuine and just say the real thing about it. Say the social winds have changed and I have to change my content with it. We can all accept that. That's, a thing that a lot of people have had to do. So don't be ashamed of it. And listen, don't ever think about the mistakes you're going to make. Just try to do your best job ever.
I also want to give some clarity to the post-fight speech that I gave.
That shit.
I mean, it wasn't a speech. It was a phrase. I was like,
I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but I really do appreciate the support, and thank you for coming.
that was addressing the people over the years that I neglected and I left behind. The people whose feelings I, didn't take into consideration. Those are the people who I was addressing as, I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea. Anyone who thinks that I should be shouting the N-word from the rooftops, I don't want to be your cup of tea.
So again, it's not genuine niceness. You don't care about people that like the N-word. Like, listen, I have friends that are anti-racist. I don't go, oh, you're not racist? Well, I can't be your friend because I'm a racist. And I think that's, your biggest problem here. If you want to be Mr. Nice Guy, if you want to be Mr. Oh, I've hurt people's feelings, maybe don't degrade those who you see as less than you. I mean, this is the major point of this video, and I can't hammer it home enough. I'll probably say it 15 more goddamn times, because it's never going to get in your goddamn mullet-haired head.
Now I want to talk about events and situations that have happened over the past 5 years of my life that have led me to the place I'm at now. One year I was at a convention and a bunch of fans were, wanting pictures, and this particular fan came up to me and said, "I know you probably don't like transgender people, but can I, get a picture?" That smacked me in the face. I was like, "Oh, holy shit. Why would you think that?"
I don't believe this story. I think it's a complete lie.
But I mean, it was fairly obvious. I was being cruel, hateful, bigoted, and being very uncaring about people's feelings.
And you still are.
That is a very fair assessment to make. I was giving this person bad vibes, and I think I've given a lot of people extremely bad vibes. Another event that was very important for me to experience was I went on a boxing podcast. I was basically like trying to walk back my Tana content cop. I was still very like insecure and uncomfortable with the fact that I made that video, and but I was still coping. You'll see me struggle in this clip to, say that it was wrong.
So I just wanted to let you talk on that, right? Because obviously using the N-word is definitely frowned upon by a lot of people, especially by a non-African American. But I was just curious.
That was a very weird video because I wanted to like criticize her for her like sort of flagrant use of it. I've been pretty flagrant about it too, not in the same way. I thought there was a message to be shared there, and I don't think it was particularly. It was okay in criticizing her, but I think I probably wasn't the person to deliver the message, if that makes sense. There was a message that I was trying to put out there, and I'm not really the person to put out that message. I don't regret making the video. I think there's bits and pieces to take from it that I think are valuable, but I probably wouldn't make it these days.
I'm very grateful to those guys and how they broached the subject, because it didn't put me on the defensive. It just made me realize, I'm stupid. And I really need to, acknowledge these things.
Oh, you're still stupid. And you still have a lot to acknowledge. But for some reason, you have it in your head that you're already at the apex of the growth that you're gonna get. And believe me, boy, you ain't.
What am I doing? I'm still trying to make excuses for myself and why I made that video. It's it was a dumb idea. I harassed someone. I was saying slurs and I was trying to justify it all. A very big thing that has sort of altered my view on all of this is just the amount of hate and harassment my wife Anissa has received over the years.
And I'm sure absolutely none of it is her fault, because we cannot acknowledge our own doings, right? It only takes, 6 years for you to figure out Content Cop? Now how many more for Anissa to figure out her mistakes?
She's had to deal with it from the beginning of our relationship, and I have done a horrible job at acknowledging her and her feelings for it. A lot of the time I just thought that was her problem, or that was, other people's problem. It's not my problem that you're getting hate and harassment. And it's no, it absolutely is. That's the culture that I cultivated, and I, didn't do anything to change that.
So you think that when she goes online and spews her opinions and is hateful towards people that she deems to be hateful towards, and they're hateful back, that's because of the culture you propagated? Let me ask that again. So when she's hateful towards people and they're hateful back, that's because of a culture that you propagated, Idubbz.
Over the years it's changed a little bit, but I don't think I've still fully acknowledged how responsible I am for the amount of harassment that Anissa has had to deal with. And this year I decided to speak more candidly and be more open about who I am as a person, and to speak on my life a little bit more. And I did that on Anthony Padilla's podcast.
These are the people that I'm attracting. These are the people that I'm entertaining. I need to reevaluate things. They're relating and enjoying this content for a reason,
And that's not maybe the same reason that I'm trying to make. I had a very Wild West mentality when it came to online behavior. Like, people are going to do what they want to do. People are going to say what they want to say. And I can pretty much do the same because it's the internet. But I think you have to be a lot more responsible.
And I agree. I do think that you have to be responsible for your opinions. You can't go loosey-goosey just saying any type of crazy stuff, or you'll end up like the Thorpes, where they are a genuine incest family doing horrible things to each other, abusing mentally, physically. So, yeah, there's definitely a responsibility to be had. But you can't say that this group is horrible. Ergo, I don't care about what happens to that group. I need to distance myself from them. They're evil. They're the bad ones. They deserve the hate. Do you see where we're getting at? I told you I'd tell you about 15 more times, Idubbz.
If you guys are at all interested in how I've arrived here, that video gives, a good bit of context and talks about some of my life a little bit. There is a clip from this interview that's been floating around the internet, and it's me calling my fans antisocial and basement dwellers, and I was like, I didn't like, interacting with my fans. I just want to be clear, that was my realization. I think a lot of people are like, of course that happened, is because you were creating that culture and you were attracting those people. And it's like, yes, I know. I know now. I didn't know before. It was my realization upon, meeting more and more fans that I was like, oh shit, you guys are struggling. It was easy for me to identify them struggling when they were outside of my body. But the antisocial basement-dwelling incel that was inside here, I couldn't acknowledge that. I couldn't recognize that. So I needed the mirror to be held up to me. In closing, I want to say that I have always thought that I was an empathetic person because I thought, well, I get angry, I get sad. Of course I got empathy. Seems easy, right? Empathy. I definitely have that. There were moments where like a dog would die in a film and I'd cry. So it's like, of course I have empathy.
This is legit a sociopath cope. Like, hey, I definitely have empathy, guys. I'm not a heartless weirdo. I'm not just in this for the money. I'm not just doing whatever I can do to kneel and pander and get whatever I need. No. This is real feelings. I'm a real human being.
But I never did. I think only in these past couple of years have I gained the ability empathy. And I'm very ashamed to admit that. It sounds really pathetic to say at the age of 32 I've acquired empathy, but I have, and I've realized it because I just can't help myself but feel for other people's pain and suffering now.
Unless they're an ostracized white male who's stuck in a basement and can't get a girlfriend. Then fuck you. I mean, I want to distance myself from you. But I have empathy for everybody else.
I'm still not perfect. I think that is, my empathy meter's only maybe like a quarter of the way filled up, potentially. But it's at least there. And I just want you guys to know that you can unlock ability empathy if you experience more life. It might take you getting hurt a little bit, but it's worth it. It is so worth it. So thank you for watching, everyone. I do want to create more regular content, and I don't want to just have the next 5 videos be apologies. So I have uploaded a squirrel video on my second channel if you want to watch that. I guess as one final thing, I just want to thank everyone who's given me the space and the compassion to grow as a person, because it's taken longer than it probably should have. I appreciate everyone, and I think most importantly, I appreciate my wife, Anissa. She has been insanely compassionate and helpful and patient in allowing me to grow over the years, and has legitimately encouraged me to be a better person, and not a better person in just like the Idubbz becoming woke kind of way. She was the one who said that I should try this boxing thing. I would have never done that on my own because I was insecure and I was pathetic. I did this and I am so glad I did. It's been amazing. So, Anissa, I love you. You're amazing. Right now you're streaming. But bon voyage, toodles.
Well, at least he thanked the audience at the end. And you know what? Good for him that he has Anissa. You know, a lot of people call her Yoko, but looks like he really does need somebody like that, you know? And for the woke stuff, you know, if you're woke, whatever. If you're racist, whatever. But, you know, I think he just needs to learn what real empathy is. And when he does say a quarter empathy, I mean, it might be a little less than that. But, I mean, Idubbz, maybe words from a gay sociopath named Lance could help you out.
Welcome, friends, comrades, fellow men. The day is nigh. 2019. The dawn is upon us. A new day, renewed. We're called upon the worst time in any generation to be a fucking man. Confusion, anime, homosexuality, transgenders, rootless cosmopolitans are all around, seeking vengeance upon your rights and your people. On this day, September 28th, it's time. Rise up against the Jewish media. Rise up against evil. Rise up against indignation. Keep rising. It's time! Everyone! To bring strength and order and subjugate the cockroaches! Squish! I want you all to know I love each and every one of you from every fiber of my being. Big Lance has your back. Let us
Achoo! Achoo!
bring the Vulcan spirit through your body!
Hopefully that motivates you, Mr. Idubbz, to become a better man with more empathy for your fellow man. I know it did for me. Thank you, Gay Lance, for that sparking tribute. Thank you, everybody in Chinatown, my Animal Mafia, all my good friends. Shout out Belly, shout out for shout out's sakes, and everybody have yourself a great time.
Smack me in the face.
To let you talk on that.
And Anissa, and it's it's like skewed. I think I should have the balls, but I was still coping. Eyes to Tana. Like, I'm stupid.